Hello people, and today I'm going to be doing a channel update. So as you might know, I've been basically uploading every single day for this year so far. And well, it's got me somewhere, I'd say, because I was, it was sort of a goal to try and reach, 130 subscribers sometime in this year. And well, truth is, that happened right in January. There's really not much to say. January I reached the end. By the time you're watching this, it'll be March. So long achieved that goal. So of course, what's next? It's gonna be 140, right? And yeah, maybe 140. However, I don't think YouTube should be my main focus in terms of numbers, because for a while now I've been part of the Fediverse. If you want to know what the Fediverse is, I've already made a video about it. Look a couple videos back. I'm really useless and not going to link it into the description. But as you can tell, well, as you might know, it's growing. It's growing heavily. And so is my accounts. I've got over 70 followers on my Clygro, and I have about 7 subscribers on my PeerTube. That's a lot. Well, okay, maybe PeerTube's not a lot, but um the Clygro, yeah, that's quite big. I mean, for Clygro to say specifically, that is relatively large. I mean, for the whole venue first, it's probably not that much. But I mean, considering my Twitter has about almost the same as currently, it's only slightly above, and then like my old Twitter still got I think 120. It's quite crazy. So the goal is trying to reach 100 followers on there. Probably, let's say, in the first half of the year. I don't think that's horribly ambitious, but I don't think it's necessarily realistic. Realistic, if you know what I mean. It's not likely to happen, but it has a possibility. Yeah, so we've got that. Of course, 104 subscribers. That's a massive goal, But I mean, I'm already almost halfway there from 130. So currently got 140. But yeah, basically, this is where growth is really happening, especially on my YouTube, but my other platforms also doing, quite well as well. So on YouTube, I've got probably about 18,000 views, which, doesn't sound like a lot, but considering how ridiculous those statistics are compared to a few months ago, it's significantly more. I probably had about 14,000 really not that long ago. If you go just a couple years back, I only had 2,000, 3,000 views, channel views. So it's definitely increased significantly. And to be fair, it was due to my PolyMC video last year, which is still growing. Although, of course, it's nowhere near where it was initially, a couple hundred per day. But, I mean, even now, it's regularly one of my most viewed videos over the last couple of days or whatever it is. I think it's 28 days on YouTube to be exact. Of course, on platforms like PeerTube, I don't really pay much of attention. if I'm being honest, the reason why I don't look at PeerTube stuff as often as I do is because there's nothing to look at. All you've got is this really horrible looking, not very useful graph of how many views I've been gaining over time. It's not useful. Well, in a way, I guess maybe it could be, but it's just not that useful. And I really want a proper equivalent to YouTube Studio on PeerTube because that is the one thing that I think is incredibly lacking on PeerTube. But yeah, I mean, so the goals really is probably to reach. Okay, it's not that unrealistic, but reach 3k views by the end of the um. Well, okay, I was gonna say yeah, that's too much too relaxed. Let's say maybe by April even, I should get try and reach for 20,000 views. That's not horribly unrealistic, although from what I thought I have actually only got 17,000, but for some reason the YouTube studio has claimed that I have slightly more, and I'm not sure why. It's pretty much every video I've got that I can is public. Does it just not and like the rest are unlisted? So does it just not count unlisted videos? I'm not sure. I could just test that. To be fair, it's not that hard. Just like unlist my Poly MC video. But yeah, so all the numbers, it's numbers, numbers, numbers. But of course, thankfully, it's not money numbers. I'm not becoming that greedy. I'm becoming greedy in a different form of numbers. But I mean, what is it going to give me? Not really much. I mean, it could give me more, I guess, in the future. But still, I'm still a long way off. Of course, maybe one of the things that I do want to continue start to do again is some live streams because easy content. It gets me views, and it's what helped me sort of gain a bunch of views in 2020. That's like how I got a decent amount of my views was live streams. So why are live streams affected? They're long, they're interactive, and so on. I'm starting to sound like a boring business person. But promise me. So I'm Of course, I used to do it back in the day, every single day, and I did that for a year. It was exhausting. Like, sometimes I'd be like, oh, I want to do this. Sometimes I just really wouldn't, and only live stream for maybe like 10 minutes. But if I do it only semi regularly, I could probably get a boost in my views. So maybe if I did that for the whole of March and maybe like April as well, I guess maybe it would make more sense to have the cut off at March because of quarter. That'd be the first quarter. Well, if I were to do that, I would have probably a decent views boost. Another thing that I'm trying to do to get my views up. I know this is getting a bit boring, but I promise I'll talk about some more plans and stuff in a sec. But what I could do is do live streams, daily videos, and of course YouTube Shorts. And I mean, I don't really care too much. It's a meaningless platform to me. But I do have a TikTok. So I'm getting spied on by the Chinese government. But I mean, I don't want like, oh, I'm not gonna get spied by the Americans. But yeah, I'm getting spied by the Chinese government. Okay, I am a bit weird. I get that. If someone were to make a Fediverse version of TikTok, that'd be interesting. I'll say that. But you've got a Clygro TikTok. It gets a lot of views. It's more effective at views than YouTube Shorts. I when I did the YouTube Short last month, it got over 1,000 views very, very quick. But it didn't gain any more additional views. So I did one after, and it got about, I think, 7 views. On TikTok, let's have a look, it got 77 views. Not great, but the TikTok, well, short slash TikTok before it got 998 views so far. It's about to hit the 1,000 mark. So it's not getting as many views. However, you might be like, oh, whatever. Okay, I've uploaded a couple stuff exclusively on TikTok, which I'm not doing that anymore. I'm uploading it to both. But I've got one that's got 526, 18 others taken down initially for breaking the community guidelines. It's just about my jailbroken iPod Touch. Now I've got one where it's who remembers the old iOS sounds? 350 view. iPhone 4S on iOS 6, 809. Who remembers the old cover flow on iOS? 446. And then you've got the one that I uploaded to YouTube Shorts. iPhone 4 in its original version of iOS 4, 147. My iPhone collection, 1,002 views. That's absurd. However, that's not even all of it. This iPad mini is on iOS 6 in 2023. 285. My iPod Touch collection, 155. Literally, it's absurd some of the numbers. And you might be like, oh, what about your likes count? Let's have a look. So most iPhone thing, that's the one that's almost got 1,000 views. 34. My original iPhone, 10 likes. Jailbroken iPod Touch, 0. Who remembers the old iOS sounds? 3. iPhone 4S on iOS 6, 11. Who remembers the old cover photo in iOS? 10. The original iPad, 1. iPhone 4 and its original version of iOS 4, 2. My iPhone collection, 50. This iPad mini is on iOS 6 in 2023, 12. My iPod Touch collection, 6. So you get the point. It really gets the views. Now, if I were to make a TikTok promoting my own other platforms, I could potentially get more subscribers and views onto like my YouTube, my account keys, all of that. And if I were to do that, I could get some big numbers just because of TikTok. So I'm going to use it for now. Maybe when I feel like I've had enough numbers going up and stuff, I can just stop it, leave it, maybe delete it. I think that's a bit too far. Okay, well, I mean, okay, yeah, maybe deleting's a bit too far. But you get the point. Do all of those, and I could expand massively. Massively. You can't see my hand movements. It's really exaggerated, but it could mean something. So, boring number talk over the way. It's just my way that I want to expand. I sound like a boring business person, but oh well. It is what it is. What am I planning to work on outside of of these stuff that I've just mentioned, my YouTube, my company, whatever? Well, I want to start making a web service thing. It's called Bobin. I've had that name for a while, but basically the main point is it'll be cool little apps and stuff that you can just use on a web browser. It's quite simple. I've had the thing like this before, except from the tools were quite useless. However, with the advent of tools that really do help speed things up, such as ChatGPT, it only makes sense to start making these tools and just having them easily accessible. So there are a couple of things that I've got planned. Now, there's not really like fancy names or anything, but some of the plans include a calculator, a new tab page which already exists but it's under the Clygro branding, um, other cool stuff like that, notes, there's a voice memos application, there's going to be a photo booth. I love photo booth on the old like skeuomorphic iOS, by the way. It looks so cool. And I want, of course, it's going to be a challenge emulating that. I can barely make anything skeuomorphic, but I think it would be really cool to have photo booth. Yeah, a camera app. The camera app's just for basic, camera stuff. Nothing exciting. But I could have a photo booth app, which shows you, a bunch of previews of things at the same time. So I've already got a functioning voice memos app. It's a bit janky, but it plays, it's got a couple sends, and it works. So voice memos will probably be available at launch. I haven't done like any CSS stuff, so of course it needs that as well. So you've got a voice memos. Calculator's going to be relatively easy. That's one that existed before, so I could, maybe try and see if it's on the web archive and steal it from myself from a couple of years ago. A new tab page already exists, so that's going to be at the very least available at launch. So you've already got like 3 applications. The camera app, I've sort of started progress. It's a bit weird, but I think I can make it work. And yeah, there are other plans as well, like maybe a screen recorder, because that should be a thing that I'm able to do. I remember there was like a web extension that could do it back in the day. I think it was like Screencast Lite or something. And it worked. I mean, it had the watermark. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to put lame watermarks on videos. So don't you worry. That's not happening in my screen recorder or whatever. No watermarks. I mean, I guess you could have an option if you want for like your custom watermark, if you feel like that's a thing you'd want. Because choice is always a good thing. You don't remove choice to make things more simple. To make things more simple, you've got to explain choices. Those are words that I did lift off of someone on the Fediverse, but it's certainly true. I mean, look at Gnome. They remove basic features such as theming, all in the name of a little better user experience, where it's just removing features. You see companies like Google kill off their products. They used them. It made their life much easier. But they have done it all horribly by just removing simple, basic functionality. And I don't want that. I want to keep the basic functionalities there. I want the advanced functionalities there, of course. You can maybe like customize it. But removing stuff isn't a feature. Like, how hard is it to understand? So, Bobin's probably the main thing that I want to focus on because of the ideas that I have and the potential it has. Of course, maybe in the future, some more additional things could be a Fediverse client, not a very first client for just like Mastodon, but like every piece of Fediverse out there. I want well, like as many as possible in just a simple, unified client. No one seemed to do it before, and I want to do it because it's a good idea. I don't want 500 Fediverse apps. It's that simple. So that is a potential idea. So, all of these cool things, of course, they could be way more simple things like just a little weather widget, maybe a dashboard, like sort of. I guess you could say, oh, that would fall under the new tab page. It might as well could be in the future where you have I don't know, news from somewhere and your RSS feed, your Fediverse timeline, all of that could be combined into one little cool website as a like with widgets like that, and that could also work as well. There's a lot of opportunities. Of course, you could make some maybe basic games on Baby. Put like I don't know, Tetris, 2048. Those simple games, they're just easy to recreate. They're enjoyable. I mean, I've played Tetris and 2048 for a lot of time. They're games that I've spent a lot of time playing. As well, as Minecraft. That's that. But like those sort of games, they could be on Bovin. I don't see a reason why they couldn't be. Just because they're not necessarily apps, they're not tools. They are for enjoyment, and I don't see it. Like you could argue a Fediverse client's for enjoyment, and you know what? That's probably true. So if that's going to be there, you might as well allow games, and maybe all of that. And then, of course, all of it, I'm going to be making open source. So you can use it whenever, because why wouldn't I? It just makes sense. Why wouldn't I want to share the code with you so you could make improvements? You can add all of these cool things to it as well. You could improve it. You could do a bunch of stuff to my own project. I say it's mine. It doesn't technically have to be. Now, of course, I could add things like a matrix client, or more like a combined instant messaging client that could just be used on the web. You could easily access anything. It comes under the same idea of a Fediverse client. Although to be fair, that idea of instant messaging services being combined into one giant client isn't really an abstract concept, unlike the Fediverse client, because that exists. It's Pigeon. It's Pigeon. It exists. You can use Discord. Oh, to be fair, it does require third-party extensions for a decent chunk of them, but the Discord one definitely works. I think the Telegram one was broken. Not sure about the Matrix, but you get the point. Also, one of the things that I'm planning to do that I've came up with like just now is a content management platform for baby. Um, so basically, what I mean by content management sounds like a bunch of words, doesn't it? That's because it's exactly that, but it's also something else. So, content management means these online services. So, your Fediverse platform. So, you've got your Calc keys, your Mastodons, if you've got that, I don't. You've got your Pixel Feds, your PeerTube, so on, so on. But also, it'd mean stuff like YouTube and whatever else like that. So, what you'd have is you just upload a video and then it'll publish to YouTube and your PeerTube. But it all will have an option to update it instant, like right from their content management tool. It'll publish both the changes on all the platforms. So, like currently, like the PeerTube YouTube sync doesn't update if you put like a thumbnail, subtitles, or whatever you change the title. That doesn't update, but with this, it could. And you don't have to change it on both if you want to like add a thumbnail. You can just do it there and do both the thumbnails. You can change the title, both, so on and so on. And you also have a storage thing. So you have like a directory just for your thumbnails. You have a directory just for your videos. You have a directory of like, I don't know, a TXT file or whatever of your CalcKit posts or Mastodon posts or whatever. That sort of stuff. And then you have, your alt text. You can manage alt text from there and bake it in. That's what I think would sound really cool. Will it actually happen? Will I make it? Probably not. But it's just a dream, and Bobin could potentially, maybe, slightly get to filling in that dream. Because it sounds like a cool thing. And then maybe you could have a thumbnail generator so I don't have to manually type in the text. It's just like click, 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 boom, you've now got a thumbnail, and so on and so on. Such a simple but yet genius idea, I think. That's why I think you could, think differently, just like Apple did back in the day. But you get the point. It's quite a cool idea. That's what I think. Of course, as I said, you may think different. So you've got all those ideas for Bobin, and I think the idea of Bobin would be a really cool one. In maybe the very far future, we could have, I don't know, a Google engine. We could have all sorts of cool stuff, and it'd just be the best thing ever. Bobin could do it. Not will, but could. And that's what I want. I want Bobin to attempt to try and do a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah. So those are like sort of the rough plans for the future. Of course, it's not all set in stone, and it's not, it's still to be determined. But I think those are really cool, especially the Bobin ideas. Now there are still some other ideas. For example, I want to add a title card to my videos to give it a more professional feeling. Why? It just looks more professional. It makes it look like I put more effort into these videos just because I have a piece of text with, like, I don't know, a title for the video and stuff like that. Because why not? It's only gonna be there for like the first 3 seconds or whatever. It's not gonna block out the audio, so I could be like, "Hello, people," whilst there's like a title card on screen, and that is what I think could make it a lot more interesting. Same old boring old, get rid of the boring, get into the more professional. And of course, thumbnails is still a thing that I need to sort of polish up on. The inconsistency still in the gradients used in the photos, that needs to be fixed up. And me being lazy and not doing thumbnails for all of my videos, those are the focuses. Those are the things that I want to do as well. So sort out the thumbnails, and yeah. And another thing is subtitles. Subtitling my shorter videos won't take horribly long, but it could drastically increase the audience of the videos. So I wanted to do that for my short videos. I did promise to try and do a bunch of videos, and I've sort of broken that promise. But I do want to, at the very least, get the very short videos, subtitles, and maybe try for the future to get as many videos of mine subtitled, because I think it is quite important to subtitle them. Now, it is time consuming. You may think, oh yeah, it won't take that long to do subtitles. But for me, it takes me about an hour to, okay, maybe an hour, maybe more like up to an hour to subtitle a couple minutes worth of videos. Now that is quite slow. It's quite time consuming, and if I'm being honest, I'm not the most efficient one. I'm slow. I get easily distracted, so that's why it's going to be a bit tricky. But for the short videos, it should be relatively quick, and most videos now I speak clear enough to understand what I am saying. Or, well, that's what I think. You may say, oh, I don't understand this, but you get the point. So, subtitles, that's the thing that I want to focus on in the future. Now, of course, you've got all of these things that hopefully sound interesting enough for content. So, yeah. I don't really think there's much to say apart from, I guess, maybe try my best to do themed weeks again. And actually, I want to do a schedule, more of a scheduled content. Like, oh, this day's going to be this type of video, and this day's going to be a different type of video. Like, I don't know, gaming Saturdays, gaming Fridays, something like that, and then like iOS Mondays or whatever. I want to make a regular cycle of content following a theme each day. Well, not each day, but like you hopefully you get what I mean. So those are things I want to do, and I did promise. I did come up with the idea of doing themed weeks back in sort of I'd say about October time, maybe November time, where I do a week of a certain theme of content. Now, the only times I've done it, I've done a Legacy iOS week and Legacy iOS month. Now, the iOS month one was really a struggle because I had to spend quite a bit of money on iOS devices just to make it interesting, because there's so much I could have done, only like a limited amount of things that I could have done with the devices that I already had. Hence why I sort of had to buy a bunch of devices. Now, there is a bit of a lie there. I could have probably got away with making 5 less videos if I wasn't very lazy, because I have filmed like, well, okay, maybe 5's a bit too much. I've not really thought about the exact amount, but quite a few videos where I used insert iPhone here for a week in 2022 or 2023. I filmed an iPhone 4 one that's already been uploaded, but there's a part 2 where I'm doing on my white 4, which has iOS 4 instead of iOS 7, and I've also done iPhone 2G, iPhone 5S, iPhone 6, and I believe that's all the ones that I haven't uploaded. But yeah, and I do have, more videos like that. I could do the 3G on iOS 2.0. I could, I've got a lot of iOS devices now. I like iPhones as well. Well, yeah, I've about 15, I think. But I want to do, as I said, I want to do theme content, not just Legacy iOS though. I did say come up with the idea of a Linux week. I think a Minecraft week would probably be a good idea, especially considering one of my more recent Minecraft episodes has actually got about 30 views on YouTube, which is quite good because those sort of videos really don't get that many views compared to like my old iOS videos. So I want to do themed weeks, I want to do a regular week schedule, so on and so on, live streams as I said earlier on. I would try and do all sorts of stuff over the next few months. So overall, I think the next couple of months might be some really good months for the Clygro channels, accounts, whatever you want to call it. And hopefully it also results in growth. Because the one thing that I feel like has been really lacking with Clygro, especially on the YouTube, has been growth. However, I mean, recently the growth has started to expand because now my YouTube has 134. I started this year with, I believe, 128 subscribers. It's the first time I've managed to beat my most subscribed amount point, which I believe was in early 2017, which was 128 subscribers. It's all been downhill since then until this year, essentially. So, as I said, conclusion, we get, you should get done that. So, hopefully you enjoyed this sort of plans video, what I've been doing this year. It's sort of a summary of Clygro, I guess, in a way. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this, but yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed this. This is sort of a plans, I guess more of a plans and summary video of Clygro. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't forget to, if you want to, if you're interested in this content, feel free to subscribe. After all, that's what I really want because it's the one thing that I've been lacking for a very, 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 very long time. So I hope you enjoyed this and goodbye, people.